Good evening, everyone. Some of you are like lunch abhi hajam nahi hua, ye evening tak pahunch gaya. Come on, we'll do that one more time. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Awesome. I'm going to talk about a topic that's going to hit a nerve today. So, do I have the permission to be brutally honest? Yes. Okay, I asked the question. That's what you do. You respond. Do I have the permission to be brutally honest? Yes. So, there are two ways that I can deliver this session. One, I can be like a cheerleader on the boundary of IPL, hold pom-poms for you, make you feel good, give you some motivational gyan. Trust me, you don't need that. You find it every morning from the Fufaji in your family at 5 a.m. on WhatsApp. Yes or no? Yeah? You don't. You don't have a Fufaji, then probably you may turn up to be one. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the stages of scaling your business. How many of you would be interested in that topic? Raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. There's a person sitting next to you not raising their hands. Now's the time to pinch them, wake them up. Awesome. So while we talk about building a business, I thought, what should I name my talk? And I'd call it Band, Baja and Business. Because that's the business that you guys are in, right? Band, Baja, but you want to make business out of it. So I'm going to have a conversation with you specifically on two topics. One, what are the stages of scaling your business? Because it's a journey. There's no get-rich-quick method in business. Can we all agree on that? Yes? There's no 90-day scheme. Mal dala, paisa nikala. It's not that. You're in the journey of scaling a business. So we're going to talk about the stages of building a business. And as I talk to you about the stages of building a business, I want you to evaluate where you are, and then I'll give you specific steps for the next stage. Is that fair, everybody? Yes? Okay. I'm going to demand a conversational response from all of you. Is that okay? Awesome. Wonderful. The second part that I'm going to talk about is the pain point. The weddings business is a services business. Services business depend on people. How many of you agree this is a people business? Yes or no? Yes. And how many of you have had this experience or feeling where you hired someone, you gave them all the knowledge that you have, you paid them well, you acknowledged them, you celebrated them, and after a year or two, they started their own business and became your competitor. If you've experienced that, raise your hands. Okay? If you haven't, coming soon. Because that's the brutal reality of services businesses. Most services businesses end up becoming the finishing school for their team members to turn into entrepreneurs. And those of you who've been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk to you about the entire science. People management is a science. And I'm going to break down for you the science of hiring, managing and retaining talent. Would that be of use to you? Yes? Wonderful. So before we begin, I know this is a room full of heavyweights. The who's who of the wedding industry is here. Some of you were kind enough to have conversations with me outside. And for the rest of you, is it okay if I give you a quick introduction about who I am, what I do, where I come from? Yes? Okay. So firstly, my name is Rajeev Talreja, and I love moderating conversations with people. So before I give you my introduction, I'm going to set a few ground rules. My request to all of you is to make notes. I know we live in a world where people prefer taking pictures of slides, but trust me, taking pictures of a slide in a conversation is like going to a beautiful scenic location and not seeing it from your eyes and taking pictures. Only your camera is enjoying the beauty of it. So writing is the best form of learning. Those of you going to write, you're going to get more out of this. There are enough notepads and pens out there. Second is to participate fully. Okay, be present. Okay, just make sure that you're honoring the people around you and not glued onto your mobile phone screens. So be present. And the third is to make sure that you're responsive. I'm going to keep asking you for responses. That's your way of giving me energy to maintain this as a high energy session. Is that okay? Yes. Awesome. Wonderful. So with that, just to give you a quick background, I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years, born and brought up in this lovely city called Bangalore. Over the last 16 years, I've built 5 businesses and I own 1 celebrity sports team. My first venture was Quantum Leap, which I started in 2006. And today we are Asia's largest business coaching company. I have a team of 70 people who work one-to-one with entrepreneurs to help them scale up their businesses. So we assign a coach for a period of a year to help businesses scale. So that's Quantum Leap. My second venture comes from this industry. I run a corporate events company with my lovely wife Bhakti called Dreamcraft Events. And we've been in the space for 12 years. We do conferences, product launch and stuff like that. My third venture is what I set up in 2017, which was Dreamcatcher Investments, to invest in startups that have the potential to scale. Invested in a logistics company, took it from a 20-member team to a 2,000-member team, from a 20 lakh per annum turnover to a 55 crore per annum turnover, and sold it last year. 2018, I invested in a sports team called Karnataka Warriors. We have 4 film industries down south. The film stars compete in a badminton tournament called Celebrity Badminton League, and I own the Kannada film celebrity team because I come from Bangalore and Karnataka is my home state. 10 months back, I started another startup called Connects, which helps business owners generate leads without social media. And about 6 months back, I joined an e-commerce startup as a director for strategy and business growth. Why am I giving you this background? I'm giving you this background because I believe I'm not a trainer or a coach. I'm more an entrepreneur who's built scalable businesses. And I take lessons out from that journey and have conversations with entrepreneurs about it. And it so happens that our journeys are very similar. You suffer, I suffer, we are hum suffer. That's how typically the life of an entrepreneur is. How many of you met people who have the similar challenges as yourself over the last couple of days in conversation? Like, yeah, that's the challenge we face. If you met people, raise your hands. Yes? Yeah? So I intend to have this as a conversation with you. And the first conversation I want to initiate with all of you is the stages of building a business. So ready, everybody? Good to go? Okay. So I'm just timing myself. So when a business starts, how many of you agree that the business starts with a lot of hope and optimism? You come up with an idea and you believe everybody's going to buy from me, I'm going to make money, this is going to work, this is a need of the market, I'm going to fulfill it. It starts with a lot of hope and optimism because otherwise you wouldn't start. So how many of you can get connected right now to that hope and optimism that you had before you started? If you can get connected to that right now, raise your hands. Now watch. You start with hope and optimism. You build your company profile, your website, your business card, you go out there in the market, and the hope and optimism turns into doubt, desperation and fear because the customer starts questioning your credentials. What's your background? What kind of work have you done in the past? What's your qualification? What's your team size? What kind of infrastructure do you have? How many of you face rejections in the early stages of your journey? If you face rejections in the early stages of your journey, raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. If someone's not facing rejections in the early stage of the journey, please wash their feet and drink it. That's Charnamrit. That's God sitting next to you. Okay? Everybody faces rejections in the early stage of their journey. Here's what happens when you face rejections. Automatically, your psychology becomes that of struggles. Because the thought process becomes, oh my God, let me get any project. Let me get any client. I'll take up any kind of work. How many of you did that early on in your career? Right? You would have started saying we're a destination wedding company or a bespoke wedding designers. And then somebody would have told you, मेरे बच्चे का birthday party है, करोगे क्या? Like, ठीक है, कर लेंगे, social media पे नहीं डालेंगे. Right? So, in the initial stages, you want to prove that you have the ability to sell, you have the ability to service, and that's your biggest driving force. But what ends up happening when you start playing this game of proving to yourself, you're not trying to prove to the world, you're trying to prove to yourself that, hey, this will work for me. You end up taking any kind of work for anyone and you become a nobody in your space. In your journey, how many of you have had to stop and reassess and reevaluate the kind of work you've taken and then make a decision saying, I will not do this kind of work anymore? If you've made that kind of a decision in your journey, raise your hands. Firstly, pat yourself on the back for doing that. Most people don't have the courage to do it. Most people just go with the flow. Now what happens to businesses in struggle is that they have a fundamental problem where their business model is not clear. Now I'll break it down for you what I mean by the business model is not clear. When you don't know who's the right customer, who has the money, who has the authority, who has the need. When you don't know what's the right service or product they're willing to spend money on. And when you don't have clarity of your price points, it's natural that you are confused, you're living in chaos, you're taking up any kind of work. So when new entrepreneurs, fresh entrepreneurs reach out to me, they say, Rajeev, my business is in chaos, I'm struggling, I can't even survive, I don't know what to do. At that point of time, these are 3 questions I urge them to answer. So I'm going to give you 3 questions, everybody. Who is the right customer for you? Who is the right customer for you? How do you determine the right customer? They need to have money. They need to have the authority to make the decision. If they're going to go back and tell you, I need to ask my papa, then you're talking to the wrong person. And they need to have the need. They need to need what you're offering them. Once you're able to profile the right customer, then it's about breaking down services that they attach value to. What are they willing to spend money on? And then it's about making sure you offer it at a price point which is competitive for the customer and profitable for you. When you get those three elements in place, that's when you have a workable business model. But in the initial stages, we ourselves are living in self-doubt. We don't know what we are good at. So we're just going with the flow, picking up any kind of work, and it's taking us nowhere. Now, you can be absolutely honest, this is a safe space. How many of you feel your business is in this stage where you're doing any and all kinds of work and you don't have a streamlined direction for yourself? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Can we have a round of applause for all these people who raise their hands? Okay. So those are your three checkpoints. Make sure you identify a workable business model. Now here's what happens. Unfortunately, most businesses shut down in this space, in this stage. The entrepreneur runs out of savings, family pressure increases, and if you're the primary income earning member of your family, you have no option but to shut that entrepreneurial dream down and go find a job. So most people, their businesses die in the stage of struggle. Very few go beyond the stage of struggle to a stage called survival. Now what's the stage of survival? The stage of survival happens when you figure out who's the right customer, what's the right product or service, what's the right price point. Once you figure that out, you start getting projects. But this stage is a trap. Everybody ask me why loudly. Come on, ask me why loudly. Why? Come on together, this side of town. What's up with you? Ask me loud why. Why? Okay, I'll tell you why. Survival is a trap because this is the stage. You are the one who's selling and closing deals, and you are the one who is servicing those clients personally. You know, the biggest bullshit ever told and ever sold is I love giving a personal touch to every client of mine. It's the biggest bullshit ever told and ever sold. And I'll tell you why. Because then the business is built around you. You are the business. You don't have a business, you are the business. And this is the stage where the entrepreneur, because you are the one who's selling, you are the one who's the face to the client, you're the one who's servicing the client, you naturally fall into a tendency that you think about selling only when you are not busy with clients. How many of you see that? Like in September you are like, November ka to season full hai, Feb mein kya ho raha hai? And suddenly you're like, I need to sow the seeds for February. I need to get some projects in for Feb. And that's your life. You're either busy back to back, putting everything on Instagram as a story saying, flying here, flying there, doing this event, doing that event, and then there's a sannata on your Instagram. The awkward phase of your life where you're only looking at where can I find the next project? Kahan se aayega? Is it from the family whose wedding I just did? Or is it from some old friend? Or let me go on Instagram and see if someone sent us a message. And that becomes a game of inconsistent income. Ask me why. Why? If a business is not marketing consistently and generating leads consistently, and it doesn't have a pipeline to sell to consistently, income becomes inconsistent. And when income becomes inconsistent, guess who's the self-sacrificing soul who's not paying himself or herself consistently? Come on, everybody. Point at this Purushottam Purush that is sitting in your chair, or this Abla Nari that is sitting in your chair, where you feel like this beholder of truth, the warrior and the hope of mankind, the true entrepreneur who's sacrificing his soul, who's watching that YouTube video and saying, Steve Jobs started from a garage. He started, he didn't finish in a garage. Some people are in a garage for 10 years. Right? So this is the stage where the entrepreneur doesn't take money home. You know what they take home every month? Motivation. See, stress अंदर की बात है. ऊपर से तो मोटिवेशन है ना, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन, मन में है विश्वास, घंटा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब. Right? So here's what happens to most people. Survival is the stage where you are doing everything. You are the karta, dharta and bharta of your business. And when you're the karta, dharta and the bharta of the business, you are stuck in a trap which I call self-employment without consistent income. Why self-employment? You are doing everything. Selling, servicing, social media, finance, accounts, payment collection, everything, it's you. And when you do everything, you can't do everything consistently. So you can't pay yourself consistently. I have seen entrepreneurs who pay salaries on time, rent on time, credit card bill on time, supplier on time, warehouse rent on time, EMI on time, everybody on time, except themselves. And when somebody challenges you in your family environment, there's a beautiful word we've all heard, right? It's called, this is my passion. Have you heard that? Passion turns into poison, my friend, very quickly. Business is not just about passion. Business is passion plus purpose plus profit. You got to love what you do. You got to make a difference to your clients and your team members, and you got to make money. If you're doing only passion and purpose, you're doing a hobby with charity. That's a dangerous combination. Yes or no? How many of you right now? See, some of you have a smile on your face. That smile is what I call the dard ki hasi. It's the laughter of pain. It's like, bro, how do you know me so well? Your office mein CCTV rakha hai. No, that's the story of pretty much every small, medium, micro enterprise in this country. I've worked with 20,000 of them across 192 different sectors. And I can tell you it's the same story. It's the same story. We feel we are unique. We are not. We have the same challenges. Survival. And I'll tell you, for a lot of services businesses, this is a way of life. 10 years in the industry, 15 years in the industry, 20 years in the industry, this is a way of life. Now even a guy is doing 5 crore wedding, 10 crore wedding, 15 crore wedding, lifestyle is 5-10 crores as well now. So it's not like there are assets created, there's not like personal wealth created. It's still the same loop. It's just a bigger bucket to take care of. Yeah, so don't be fooled by the cars people drive, the pictures they put on Instagram. It all runs on 2 credit cards. One whose due date is 5th of the month, other whose due date is 25th of the month. Apna consistency to udhar se hi aata hai. That's the truth of most entrepreneurs. So I want you to understand, it's a very dangerous trap. There are very few entrepreneurs who go beyond the stage. And the stage beyond survival is stability. Everybody, make this sound, go. Come on, make that sound. Come on, louder, come on. Together. What's with this guy, this side of town? Are you guys paralyzed or something? You're from Thakur's family? Kuch nahi chal raha hai. Okay? Everybody do that. You know why? Because that's the feeling when you reach stability. That's the feeling. I'm at least taking my 2 lakhs, my 3 lakhs, my 4 lakhs, my 5 lakhs, my 6 lakh rupees a month for myself. That's stability. When does this happen? This happens when you get the awakening that business is not just about selling and servicing. This happens when you realize that, hey, listen, I need to put a marketing engine in place which is constantly making noise, grabbing attention and establishing credibility, so there's a pipeline of inquiries coming. This happens when you realize, apart from keeping a marketing engine, I need to have a sales team which is going and pre-qualifying a customer, setting the stage for me, so I just walk in for the closing meeting. This happens when you realize that on that day of the event, I can't be with a walkie-talkie. I got to be wearing Sabyasachi that day myself. So I get the next wedding. That's when this happens. Where you start paying yourself, when all these activities of marketing, sales, operations, accounts are working in tandem with consistency. Now, this also is a trap. Ask me why. Come on everybody, ask me why. I tell you why this is a trap. This is the stage you become the true hustler. Everything, here's what happens typically. Businesses that are stable, what I notice is this. They have an operations and a client servicing team, they have a design team, they have a good back-end team. The entrepreneur is the manager of that team. You manage those team members personally. And you are the marketing and sales person. So you have a team. It's not like survival where you are the team. Here you have a team, but you are the manager of certain activities and you are the solo team member in certain other activities of your business. How many of you can relate to that? If you can relate to that, raise your hands. Now what happens is this, because you have a team and you are managing that team, work happens consistently in certain areas of the business. And the other areas, you are able to put your personal time, your personal effort, use your personal intelligence and generate business. The reason I call this a trap is this is the stage you get busier. This is the stage where if your wedding anniversary is in wedding season, you never celebrated yourself. Right? Because it's season time. Or maximum what you can do is tag your spouse along with you to the wedding. Right? You're like, chalo na, I got an event in Dubai, we'll go. Yeah? Your spouse is alone. They are taking pictures of Burj Khalifa. You are at the event with the walkie-talkie. Right? So here's what happens. Stability is also a trap because things are still dependent on you. In fact, this is a bigger risk because now you have to take care of the salaries of 8-10 people. Survival means there's no tension. Na? It's like, if I do, I make. If I don't make, it's okay. But in stability, you have a team, you have infrastructure, you become the primary driving force. I'll be honest with you, this is a conversation not many people like to have in an open forum. I've seen pretty perceptionally successful entrepreneurs who come up to me and say, Rajeev, for my industry, for my fraternity, I'm making good money. But on the inside, I'm bored. I'm bored. I'm dealing with the same challenges for years now. Same thing, go for a client briefing and that guy will put his son-in-law in the front face and say, ye ladke ka cheeza hai, isko jo chahiye, isko karwa dena. Same challenges, same requirements. You kind of fatigue out creatively. It's not something that you like to talk about in the open because people look at you as, you're an established brand, sir, I'd like to be like you, ma'am, I'd like to be like you. But on the inside, you're like, you'd hate to be me. Stability is the game of self-employment with income. You pay yourself, but everything is still dependent on you. So that's why it's a trap. Got it, everybody? If you got that, say got it. Got it. Awesome. Very, very, very few entrepreneurs go beyond stability. And the stage beyond stability is success. And I'll tell you, people often ask me, how do you evaluate if a business is successful? Can I give you the parameter today, everybody? Yes? Would you like the parameter? Success is not a sign of the money you make. Success, one of the most key metrics of success is when you have a second line of leaders who are managing the day-to-day activities of different departments and you no longer have to think about the day-to-day activities of different departments. That is when you reach success. Because this is the stage where the managers and the team drive the daily activities. You have a marketing manager who takes care of your social media, takes care of your marketing. You have a sales manager who's taking care of nurturing the clients in the pipeline and understanding their requirement, creating presentations, pitch decks, commercial proposals, themes, going out there and pitching to the client. So the managers and the team are taking care of the day-to-day activity. You have a solid production team, client servicing team, design team, and there's a manager who's kind of managing all of these things. And you're walking into the wedding as a guest yourself. So that's when you have day-to-day activities which are no longer dependent on you. Now if the day-to-day activities are not dependent on you, what will you do? You won't chill on the beach every single day and drink pina colada. You do that for 21 days and then get bored. That's when you have the opportunity to focus on strategic growth. Either new markets, new countries, some new strategic alliances and partnerships, probably partner with a hotel and say we become your resident wedding planners. You explore new partnerships, new opportunities, new geographies, new markets, and you leverage your existing team, existing infrastructure, existing investment to create multiple streams of income. This is the stage where you make money for yourself, for your leaders, for your team members, and money loses its value because you are raking it. Let's face it, you are in a high value business, yes or no? If somebody has a cash flow problem in this business, if somebody has an income problem in this business, they lack the fundamentals of personal finance management and marketing. That's the summary. So what you need to understand is this is where you focus on strategic growth, you leverage existing infrastructure team, create multiple streams of income, and you genuinely create wealth. You genuinely create wealth for yourself and for your business. Now there's a trap here as well. Ask me what? Come on everybody, ask me what? Here's the trap. This is the stage where people become hyperactive socially. Dhanda chal raha hai na? Rotary Club, Lions Club, okay, BNI, Okay? Hyperactive. They run those organizations more than they run their own businesses. And that's a trap, my friend. And I'll tell you what happens. Then you get into this trap of playing for social significance. Kitty group 1, kitty group 2, couple kitty, gents kitty, ladies kitty, club group, this group, that group. It's like dekha na ho, ab life ki bhadas nikal rahe hain. Okay? It's a big trap. This is where I see entrepreneurs becoming so passive that their team members start thinking, marketing ye kar raha hai, sales wo kar raha hai, event मैं संभाल रहा, ये कुछ कर नहीं रहा, पैसे ये ले रहा है, चल अपन business partner बनते हैं. If you are not constantly nurturing, developing, mentoring and creating a next level of vision for your leaders, obviously they will leave. Obviously. You think people are going to be excited where they are stressed and you're walking the red carpet? No. People want value in exchange. People want value in exchange. Some of you were a part of such a business and you decided to be an entrepreneur because you felt that there was no fair exchange. You felt like, I am giving, what am I receiving? It's not about money. It also becomes about respect. It becomes about recognition. It becomes about learning. It becomes about a next level vision. And if as an entrepreneur you're not going to be there to give that direction, people will leave. So this stage can be a bigger trap, and this is where the bigger fall happens. See, the more forward you go, the game gets bigger. Yes or no? Yes. So you got to up your game at each level. Very few have that maturity, understanding and awareness and consciousness. And the ones who do, they go beyond the stage of success to another stage called scale. What is the stage of scale? Scale is a stage where you don't just have managers of departments. You have a professional management team. What do I mean by a professional management team? I'll ask you a question. How many of you have ever had this experience where you have a manager, very loyal, very committed, very honest, very capable, very hardworking? They get all the job done whenever you give them the job. But when you sit with them for a business discussion, you walk out feeling disappointed saying, he's not able to think at my level. Ever had that feeling? If you had that feeling, raise your hands. I'll tell you what that frustration is. You have a manager who's good at managing people, who's good at managing projects. What they lack is management capability. And the difference between a manager and a management person is a manager manages people and projects. Management has business acumen, has strategic thinking. So what you miss intellectually in that conversation with your team member is isko dhande ki soch nahi hai. Doesn't think business like me. Doesn't have that strategic thinking. Now, either you mentor your managers and equip them with the skills and knowledge to think business, think strategy, or you bring in a professional management person who's already operated at scale. Someone who's already been a CEO or a creative director or a CMO or a CFO who's already experienced that scale. The objective in the stage of scale is to set up a professional management team. A professional CEO, professional CMO, professional CFO, a professional C-suite in whatever department that you need. Now this decentralized management, they leverage on the brand and they accelerate the brand. Scale is a stage where people know the name of your company. They don't know who started it. That's when you've created true legacy. Scale is a stage where the brand sells, not the person. And that's the true moksha prapti in business. Because you build something that will live beyond you. You build something where the name will pull people. It's not the person. Now these are the 5 stages in the journey of building a business. Firstly, how many of you could find yourself on this slide? If you could find yourself, raise your hands. Raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands. Okay? Now, can I do a little audience poll and survey before I tell you how do you move from one stage to the other stage? Would you like to know how to move from one stage to the other stage? Yes? Because people often ask me, how long does it take to reach success or scale? Let me answer that first. Reaching success or scale is not a matter of time. How many of you have seen people who are entrepreneurs for 10 years? You're all over the place. You don't know who you are, whether you're an event manager or a wedding planner or a graphic design company or a logo design company, because you're taking any kind of work. Okay? If you're at that stage, and it happens in the early stages of a business, please design a profitable business model. 3 questions there. Who's my customer? Who has money, authority, need? What's the product or service they're willing to spend their money on? What's the price point? Define that clearly. Define that clearly. That itself will give you conviction and clarity of who you are selling to, what you're selling, and what price you're selling. And you'll automatically start getting those projects. So from struggle to survival, it's about designing a profitable business model. Now the question is, if I'm in survival, I am doing everything, but it's still not enough. I'm still not making enough money. Okay? So what should I do? If you are in the trap of survival, where you're living a hand-to-mouth lifestyle and you're living this game of self-employment without consistent income, then your job is to activate your business functions. What do I mean by activate your business functions? Just keep in mind that you need to make sure marketing is consistent, so leads are consistent. Most of you don't have a problem in selling. If I make you sit in front of a potential client, you know how to paint the right picture and sell your conviction that you will do a great job. Your challenge is you don't have enough people to sell to. You're not sitting in front of enough people. How many of you have the challenge? If you have the challenge, raise your hand. So what I need you to understand is this. Your problem is not sales, your problem is marketing. You don't have an engine to generate leads consistently. So build that engine of marketing, activate the engine of sales, and operations is something you're good at doing, otherwise you wouldn't be here in this space. When marketing, sales and operations becomes consistent, income becomes stable, because these are income generating activities. Does that make sense, everyone? Yes? So activate those functions. Now, once you've activated it, you have an operations team, you're managing them, you're the one who's doing marketing and selling proactively. Once you've activated that, if you want to move from stability to success, then your milestone is build a second line of leaders. Now this gets a little complicated. Ask me why? Come on everybody, ask me why? Why? If you reach stability, you're a creative genius, you're very hands-on, you love doing stuff by yourself, and developing people requires patience, which you don't have. How many of you have experienced that? See, agree. You're like sometimes you walk out of your office thinking that, why is God doing this to me? What have I done to deserve this? People around me who can't comprehend basics. Ever got that feeling? Yeah. I tell you, God's doing that to you to say, slow down. You went through years of learning, failing, mistakes to get at the excellence that you are at. Now, I'm not saying give the same amount of years to them, but if you're just more patient, you have a little more empathy. Trust me. One truth about this space is, to the client, we'll do ji hujur for anything. And to our team members, we will go the extreme opposite and do whatever it takes and say, come on, if you can't handle the stress, you're not cut out for this space. We camouflage stress and take the leeway of being disrespectful sometimes to our team members. And today your children will not listen to your abusers, leave alone your team members, no matter who you are and how much you pay. Someone has to say it on your face. And I'll do that job. So I want you to understand this. Your personality has to go through a transformation if you're serious about moving from stability to success. If your personality cannot change, and you're going to walk around with horns in your office thinking, this is who I am, take it or leave it, okay, leave it. That's what people will do. This is a stage where you really need to look within and master the craft of people management, which I'm going to teach you in some time. Would you like to learn that? Yes. Okay, see, I know how to stack my content to keep you hooked. So, listen to this carefully. You need to build second line of leaders, and in a moment we'll get to that conversation to reach success. And from success, if you want to go to scale, then it's about building a professional management team. This is where you either develop professional CEOs or CEOs in your business, or you bring in professionals. Now, while I'm saying bring in professionals, I'm going to give you a little warning. How many of you have had this experience in your journey as an entrepreneur? You hired someone from a big brand at a very premium salary. and suddenly you started treating that person as God's gift to mankind. Anything they said, you are like, हाँ, चलो इसके salary का पैसा वसूल करते हैं. And I'll tell you what happens when you hire senior people. Remember this point. When you hire a senior person, please tell them, for the first 90 days, your job is not to show us your intelligence. For the first 90 days, your job is to gain the trust of the team and remain humble. I'll tell you what happens. When you hire someone at a senior level, even they have the pressure to prove the worth of their salary. Yes or no? Yes. What's the best way to prove the worth of your salary? Come into an organization and say, everything's wrong here. And the business owner will also listen because they're paying a premium. No? Because on the 10th of the month, there was a notification that came. 2,40,000 debited from Kotak Mahindra Bank. And you're like, shit, that's one person's salary. That's my entire operations team. So you're listening. I've seen business owners lose their own self-worth and their confidence when they hire senior level people from a big brand. That's the biggest blunder you can make. Because you'll piss your existing team members off and they will leave. And ये तो घर ना घर का ना घाट का, ये तो 3 महीने में जाने ही वाला है वैसे. See, if he was not loyal to someone else, what are the chances of him being loyal to you? You need to hold control. You need to hold the rudder of the boat and decide the direction of the business. You hire a person for competence, tell them their test is not competence, their test is commitment. And evaluate that commitment. How are they working with other people? Do they have the attitude of uplifting people or looking down upon people? And these are red flags that you need to look out for. Only then will you be successful in building a professional management team. If that makes sense, see, I'm so used to Zoom webinars, I'm saying type out, it makes sense. Come on everybody, type makes sense, wherever you want to type it. Okay, awesome. So, everybody got your critical milestones? Yes? Can I tell you something? This is a journey of a minimum of 3 to 5 years if you are extremely capable. It's a minimum of 3 to 5 years. There's no get rich quick method here. Minimum 3 to 5 years. And it's worth it if you have the capability. So, firstly, embark on the journey, look at the next milestone, build your capability to fulfill that milestone for your business. Clear everybody? Clear? Yes. Which brings me to the second part of my talk. Are you ready for the second part? Yes? Yes. Awesome. So let's talk about this. Building effective teams and retaining talent. So I'm going to give you 7 steps. Ready? Yeah? I'm going to break it down into 7 steps, or rather let me call it 7 skills you need to develop. So I'm going to break it down in those 7 steps. So consider this. When it comes to building effective teams and retaining talent, retention actually starts with hiring. The first step for you to build teams is to hire the right people. Now some of you are looking at this and like, what bullshit, hire the right people. Who are the right people? Let me tell you who are the right people. Everybody say this. Attitude. Come on, say this loudly. Attitude. Come on, together. Attitude. Attitude. Skills. Skills. Come on, together. Skills. Knowledge. Knowledge. ASK. Attitude, skill, knowledge. If the person does not have the required attitude, required skill, required knowledge, no ask equals no task. Never give a task to a person who does not have the required attitude, skill or knowledge. Which means, when you are sitting in an interview, you cannot ask questions like, are you hardworking? Because what do you think that guy will say? Yes sir, yes madam. Are you open to learning? Yes sir, yes madam. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Once, I pray, once, when an entrepreneur asks this question in an interview, that candidate should say, Meri chodo, aap batao. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And you are like, मैं तो 30-day P&L पे चलता हूँ भाई, 5 years का सोचा नहीं. Right? These are meaningless questions. Where do you see yourself? Are you hardworking? Are you committed? Are you open to learning? When you ask such questions, they say yes to everything. You feel you found an ideal candidate. When you give them the job, you realize you didn't find an ideal candidate. You found a useless son-in-law. You know what a useless son-in-law does, na? Fukad ka khayega, manwar chayega. Pain in the ass. Yeah? Right. Now watch. Hiring is a skill. And that is a skill where you firstly define tasks. One request, rather one hack I'm going to give all of you. The next time you hire, never hire for a role title. You know what is a role title? We're looking for a BD executive. We are looking for a marketing manager. We're looking for a client servicing person. These are titles. Never hire for a title. Detail the tasks that you expect a person in the title to do. Hire for tasks, don't hire for titles. When you hire for titles, there is a misconception about what are the tasks to be done according to you, what are the tasks to be done according to them. How many of you noticed that? You hired a marketing person, you say, we're looking for someone who does marketing. And they come in saying, okay, I'll do marketing. And all they are doing is refreshing your Instagram account and telling you 3 likes added for the day. 2 cool Salma and 2 sexy Rahul. 2 cool Salma and 2 sexy Rahul cannot be anybody's customers. If they're following you, that's a waste. Right? And you're like, bhai marketing kar. That's what I'm doing, sir. I'm on social media. You're like, nahin, marketing matlab telecalls karo. And he's like, I can't do that. When you hire for titles, you create room for confusion. The next time you are hiring, sit down before that interview. List out all the tasks and activities you expect this person to do on the job to produce the desired result for that role. If you can't list tasks for that job, you shouldn't hire for that role. Because how will you manage that person? You know, many people give me this garb. I don't have to learn everything. I'll hire experts. I'm like, how will you know that expert actually has expertise or he's an expert at bullshitting to you? You won't. So, having fundamental knowledge of every function of your business is your responsibility as an entrepreneur. You don't have to do everything, but you need to know everything. Agree, everyone? Yes. You need to know how to generate leads. You need to know how to close deals. You need to know how to do design, not from a point of view of how to use Photoshop, but at least the aesthetics. You need to know the basic fundamentals of every activity of your business. That's when you can hire capable people, manage them, mentor them, review them, give them feedback. But if you don't know and you're living in this la-la land that agar lakh rupees ke upar salary diya matlab expert hai, then I promise you that's 3 months of wasting money. How many of you have done that? After 3 months you realize this person's useless, let me fire him. Yes or no? Yes. Yeah? So please understand this. Hiring starts with you listing the tasks and activities. Then you listing to do this task and activity, what is the attitude required, what's the skill required, what's the knowledge required. You need to list the attitude, skill and knowledge required. And then creating an evaluation process to gather evidence whether this person has that capability or not. You need to have some tasks you need to give them. Assignments you need to give them. Indirect questions you need to ask. Don't ask direct questions. Direct questions are Miss World questions. You see Miss World beauty pageant, right? 27 years, same question in the final round. When you become Miss World, what will you do? And standard script. Good evening, judges. Thank you so much for this wonderful question. When I become Miss World, I will look at the problem of global warming. Mother Earth is dying. I will talk about employment, food for all, man is doing war. ये जगत माता है, ये सब काम यही कर लेगी, हम ताली बजाएंगे इसके लिए. What does she want? Dharma production में item song भी मिल गया. That's a good break. Right? So nobody will tell you the truth. When you ask direct questions, you've got to master the craft of indirect questions. And if you'd like to learn it, here's my recommendation. Go on Google, type STAR interviewing model. STAR interviewing questions. Just type this on Google. You'll get PDF documents with thousands of questions, which you can ask in interviews to test different attitude, different skills, different knowledge. I don't have to teach you something that's on Google. Just go refer it. Ask indirect questions so that you filter out the right person. Never give a job to someone just because they are a friend or a cousin or a fufa or whoever. I've seen a lot of services business make that mistake saying, apna hi hai na, apna banda chahiye. You hire based on trust. But if that person does not have capability, trust ka achar daloge kya? Think about it. How many of you have made this mistake and then feel stuck? You feel like my personal relationship will get spoiled, I can't even question this person. I'm all for hiring your family, friends, cousins, relatives, colleagues, ex-colleagues, but hire them if they have the attitude, skill and knowledge for the role. The trust is a bonus factor. If that makes sense, everybody say makes sense. Yes. Otherwise you get stuck with people who, because they are close to you, they carry an ego in the office and they piss off the capable team members because they're like, isko kuch nahi pata, ye boss ka dost hai, mere sar pe baitha hai. Right? So hire for capability. That's the first thing. That solves 90% of your people problems, honestly. Which brings me to the second part. Delegate clear roles. Now this one is a genius. Okay? Give you a simple example of what I mean by delegating service. Say you hired an accountant. For 3 months, that accountant was extremely busy because they were clearing all your backlogs. They were following up with all your vendors, getting proper bills, challans, filing it, okay, putting every transaction in the banks, from the bank statement into the right ledger in the tally books. 3 months, the person is super busy. You're proud of your decision of hiring. After 3 months, the person does not have that much work. Why? Off season चल रहा है, and plus ऐसा नहीं कि हम रोज 10 चीजें बेच रहे हैं कि accounting का काम. Now that person is not productive. He has 2 hours of work every day. Remaining 6 to 8 hours, he's playing Candy Crush, watching YouTube videos, and chit-chatting with people in the office. Now suddenly, this word called productivity starts ringing in your head. I need to optimize productivity. You go to that person and you ask him, "You have too much free time, huh?" Like, "Yes sir, yes madam, I'm free." Say, "Do one thing. Here's a database. This is all the decision makers of the Marwadi Samaj. Make calls, set up appointments." That person's like, "Sir, calling, how can I do calling? I'm not confident." Now what do? When someone says no to you, suddenly your internal Sandeep Maheshwari wakes up, okay, and you do superficial motivation, where you say, "Come on, believe in yourself. I believe in you." Okay? Why are you worried? I can see the spark in your eyes. He's like, "Sir, what tubelight ka reflection." Itna seriously lo hai. And then for the next 1 week, every morning you send him a WhatsApp message at 7 a.m. "Today morning, wake up like that deer in the forest that wakes up knowing it has to run faster than the fastest lion to stay alive. And wake up like the lion who knows that he needs to run faster than the slowest deer so he doesn't sleep hungry. You can do it." He's like, "इसकी उतरी नहीं रहा, सुबह सुबह मेरी ले रहा है." You do superficial motivation, you convince the guy, "Come on, make calls." You give him script also. You say, "I'm teaching you, no, I'm training you." The problem is not your skill training. The problem is his self-image, how he looks at himself. He looks at himself as a reserved, shy accountant who does data entry work and cannot talk to people. And you're putting him in a front-end role saying, "Talk to people." That is like walking into your office, having a fish bowl where this fish is swimming effortlessly and chilling in life, and suddenly you had this motivational rush and you put your hand inside the fish bowl and you remove the fish and said, "You can fly. Believe in yourself. I can see it in your eyes. You have wings. It can turn into wings. Come on, you can do it." And the fish is like, "चूतिया मेरे को इधर सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, अंदर डाल." How many of you made this blunder of getting anybody to do everything? It's called musical chairs. बचपन में खेला था ना? That's left a deep imprint in your life. Remember birthday party, 6 empty chairs, 7 people, music baja, went round, 6 people sat, 1 got out. I've seen that happen in offices. "Oh, you're free? No. Do one thing. You follow up with that flower vendor. Get quotation. You're free? No. You get that payment first. You get that payment." Like, "Sir, मैंने client से बात ही नहीं किया, इसलिए तो तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ. मेरे को तो देता नहीं." Right? You're free? No. You make calls. You do social media. Social media. I'm telling you, if you don't delegate clear roles and all that motivation that you do, I'll tell you what that motivation means. Everybody do this. Motivating people. Come on, take a left hand forward. Come on, take a left. Move your hands a little bit. Otherwise, the biryani will digest too much. Okay? Now watch this. Do this. Motivating people. Come on, repeat after me. Motivating people. See, there are 4 people. I'll do 1-to-1 sessions with them. Come on, everybody. Motivating people is like putting chocolate cream, vanilla cream on cow dung and calling it cake. खाओगे क्या? ताजा ताजा अभी निकला. If people don't have the foundational personality for a job role and you're delegating a job to them which is not in alignment with their personality and you're using motivation, your life is hell, my friend. Because you're either abusing people, or you're begging people, or you're motivating them. If you're doing any of these 3 things with your team members, you have put the wrong person for the wrong job. Does that make sense? Okay? So, correct that. Hire for attitude, skill and knowledge. Delegate based on capability and personality. And as you delegate based on capability and personality, please do weekly and monthly review meetings. I can't tell you how important this one activity is. And how many of you have scheduled review meetings and cancelled them because a client requirement came? Come on, be honest. पाप तो सबने किए, धोने वाले आज थोड़े ही. So watch this. When I tell business owners, review meeting with the team is first priority, client meeting is second priority, they say, that's not practical advice, Rajeev. Client is the one who gives us money. Listen to me carefully. If you're not doing weekly, monthly reviews in your business, firstly, you're not in control. Most people do a review once a year when they sit with their auditor. That's not called a review, it's called a post-mortem report. Right? You got to do weekly, monthly reviews, and you got to give tasks to people. People ask me, Rajeev, in off-season, what kind of tasks can I give? Give people learning tasks, put them through some advanced skill-based courses, let them learn something new. Make your operations team versatile, put them through flower decor training, put them through motion graphics designing, put them through something. That's also work. It will be of use in the next season. Right? So, you got to review performance consistently. And if you treat client meeting above team meeting, you will always be the one running the business. I'll give you a simple example to understand how to make decisions. Say you scheduled a review meeting with the team on Thursday morning 10 a.m. and Wednesday evening, a client calls you and says, hello, how are you? Tomorrow 11 o'clock come to my office, I have a requirement. Now, predictable behavior of 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs. They'll send a WhatsApp message on the team WhatsApp group. Hey guys, we'll have to postpone this meeting because the client has called me tomorrow morning at 11. So I'll get back to you guys as to when are we rescheduling the team meeting. So tomorrow it's not happening and you'll never get back. That's the truth. You'll go for a client meeting, right? And most people think that's normal, that's the right behavior, it's the right thing to do. But let me give you another situation. Thursday morning 11 a.m. you have a client meeting set. And on Wednesday evening, another second client calls you and says, come tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. What would you tell this second client? What would you tell? I already have a meeting. Can we reschedule for another time? Yes or no? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आज बुलाया, आज मीटिंग क्लोज किया और एडवांस दिया. He will also wait, yes or no? But are you seeing this gap in our own psychology, where we are constantly treating our teams as second-class citizens, and as a result of that, we are the ones who have to always be there and build the business by ourselves. I did an interview with more than 5,000 business owners. Okay, it was like a virtual survey form interview. And here's what was the statistics. Anybody who's built a successful business, they put team first, client second. Anybody who's building a mediocre business, they put client first, team second. So whoever taught you customer is king, clearly bullshitted to you. You need to build teams which will take care of clients. If you are hiring teams but not building them and you are taking care of clients, two things are happening. You are working hard taking care of the client, and all the money you are making, you are using it to take care of this team. Most people are not building a business, they are running a वृद्धाश्रम. जिसका कोई नहीं उसके हम salary तो हम देते ही हैं. It's not the right way of building a business. So ladies and gentlemen, review meetings is where you actually build culture. And here's another point. Review meetings are not for you to blame, complain, abuse and get aggressive with your team members. The purpose of a review meeting is to analyze the data of each department's activity and then brainstorm solutions with the team as to how can we move closer to the goal. Unfortunately, I have seen entrepreneurs who do not brainstorm solutions. They are busy asking questions like, who didn't do it? Why you didn't do it? And then they tell you why they didn't do it. And then you yell at them saying, don't tell me stories. And they're like, don't ask me stories. You ask story, then they're telling story, then you're abusing them only. Reviews is for brainstorming. Is that clear, everybody? Yes. Which brings me to the next activity. Giving feedback. Two things about feedback. It has to be specific. It has to be respectful. If feedback is not given in a respectful tone, it's not feedback, it's frustration. Agree everyone? Yes? Did your energy become dull out of guilt? Please lift the energy, it's okay. Like, आप अकेले नहीं हो, सबने पाप किए हैं. Yes. So watch this. You got to give feedback in a respectful tone, and the feedback has to be specific. Now, what does specific feedback mean? Always ask yourself, when I tell my team member, give my team member feedback, do they have clarity of what they need to do specifically different? Because most people in the name of feedback, they use lazy American jargon. Like, I want you to think outside the box. They're like, which box? Lunch box or match box? I need you to pull your socks up. Oh, sorry, I'm wearing ankle socks today. Tomorrow I'll wear full leather. Or the best feedback, the most legend, the most epic feedback. Something's missing. I don't know what it is, but that click is not happening. Something's missing. I'll tell you what's missing. What's missing is capability in the entrepreneur to give specific solution-centric feedback. That's what's missing. Ladies and gentlemen, I really need you to understand your role. Your job is to not run behind customers all the time. When you build this engine of team members who are leaders, customers will come by themselves. I hope you are having that realization today. Your job is not to be the solo hero or heroine of your own sad story. You can have a romantic life. And that's where you need to build teams. By giving effective feedback, specific and respectful. Which brings me to the last, to another important one. Train and mentor people. There's a big difference between giving motivational gyan and giving people specific actionables. Develop skills in people. Motivation is temporary, skills are permanent. Develop skills in people. And in fact, I'll go one step further. Don't just restrict your intervention with your team to work. Get into the details of how is your team member managing their money. How is the team member's health doing? How is their family doing? Get into that. Most entrepreneurs get scared. They say, Rajeev, if I get into it now, then the guy will ask me more money. But get into it. Mentor them for life, not just for work. People leave bosses, people leave managers, people leave workplaces. People don't leave mentors. Do you agree? So mentor them. See, it's a simple game. You want to ace business? You got to be a master of caring for people. If you care for people, they will care for you. One or two may be crooks. And they may misuse your vulnerability, your niceness, your free hand, and behave like a criminal and cheat you of something. But let not those one or two betrayals become the pillar of your belief system. If you shifted in your personality because someone screwed you over, you let them win for the rest of your life. Because you modified who you are at your core. Some of you modified who you are at your core for 10, 20, 30 years. It's time to go back to that purity of your soul and develop people with that care. Is this making sense? Yes. This is my favorite one. Salary appraisals. Now this is a big one. Most businesses don't have a salary appraisal system. They do salary appraisals based on how much they like a team member. Oh, I like this person, very nice, friendly with me, very caring. We go out for a drink also once a month. Chill person, my vibe. Okay. You do appraisals based on your vibe? No. God bless you and your team. Salary appraisals done based on your personal liking of a team member is unfair. Agree everybody? Yes. Okay. On the other hand, some of you fall victim to emotional atyachar, where a team member during an appraisal meeting comes in with a WhatsApp message from a competitor. Says, see boss, we are giving 25% increment. Either you give or I go. Okay? Suddenly now all the organs in the body start shaking, and then you come up with a master stroke strategy where you say, okay, I'll give 25% increment, but do mother promise you will not tell anyone else. मतलब mother promise पे तुम्हारा धंधा चल रहा है. Every team member discusses with other peers who got how much increment during appraisals. Agree? Now when this person goes out like a smart ass and says, I got 25% increment bro, And that other guy who's honest, committed, sincere, capable, loyal, got 15%, he feels like my boss is an asshole who screwed me over. Yes or no? And you're coming and taking stringent action on that behavior, then let me tell you, breaking news. Your plane has been hijacked by a terrorist. You're no longer the captain of that plane. That's the breaking news. And the terrorist can land it anywhere, anytime. You're expecting this cooperative loyalty saying that the terrorist will continue to feed me as long as they are in charge. No, it's not going to happen. The day they find a convenient route out, they will take everything with themselves. Culture, when I talk about this word now, most people don't relate to it because they think ये तो बड़ी कंपनियों के लिए. No. To become big, to scale up, you need to build culture when you're small. And culture is nothing but every action you take, every decision you make, the principle behind that. If your principles are not strong, you will live a very unfulfilled, hollow life, feeling empty no matter how much you achieve. But if your principles are strong, you'll face those initial resistances, disturbances, but the long term will be beautiful. You wake up to work every day knowing that you're working with people that you love, that you care for, and they love you, they care for you as well. And that's how you build effective teams. This is the cycle. Clear, everybody? Yes. Remember this, every business is a people business. And if you don't honor this reality, if you don't value people, you will either soon be out of business or you'll be stuck at the same level for years. So with that, that was my 7 steps for you to take charge of. Let me ask you a question. How many of you feel there are gaps there in your capability in terms of those 7 steps? The slide's not going back. Okay. How many of you feel there are gaps in your capability? Like you don't know how to hire, don't know how to delegate, don't know how to do performance appraisal, don't know how to mentor, don't know how to coach. Please make that a learning goal for the next 1 year. You're a master at your craft. You don't have to know which vendor does good flower decor, which DJ is good, or which artist is a good singer to call for a wedding. Your next level learning is this. You know event management, now learn people management. That's your next skill. Which brings me to the last slide of today. Have I exceeded time? No? Even if I have, is this of value? Yeah. I can keep going. Okay? I want to give you 3 traits that I want to paste on your walls of your office. Please put this on the walls of your office. These are 3 traits you need to walk the talk to nurture and build effective teams and retain talent. Here's the first one. Goals first, people second, individual third. This is something you need to teach, you need to take a commitment on from your team members, and then you need to practice. I'll give you a simple example. I run an events business, so I know what happens behind the scenes. So I have a corporate events company. My business development guy goes to Microsoft, gets a briefing for a product launch event. The client says, look, I've already got 2 proposals. I need you to send me the design, the walkthrough, the commercial proposal by tomorrow 4 p.m. because that's going to be the 3rd proposal and then we'll choose the best. So you have very limited time. The business development guy comes back to office and he tells the designer's name is Deepak, he tells designer, bro, you need to make this walkthrough, this is the brief, this is the stage, this is the venue, this is the ambience decor ideas that I've given them, this is the branding, make a walkthrough. It's 5 p.m. in the evening. Designer looks at his watch and says, it's 5 o'clock, I have to leave at 6 o'clock. I can't make it. He says, look, it's an urgent requirement. Tomorrow I have to give this to the client, so at least by 2 p.m. give it to me tomorrow, so by 4 p.m. I can send it. Designer says, I can't do it. I need to leave right now. Question, in this situation, what is the designer putting first? Goal, people, himself. What? Himself, right? He's putting himself first. Now, if I have not educated my team, that guys, in any situation, we will put goal first, people which is our peers second, and ourselves third. If I am not educated, if we have not discussed, if we have not committed to this as something we will walk the talk on, then in this situation, what is bound to happen between the designer and the sales guy? What's bound to happen? A conflict. The sales guy will say, you designers, half the time you're on YouTube watching videos, your project aata hai, tab bhi tumko mehnat nahi karna hai. You think the sales guy will say, the designer will say, oh, you opened my eyes, you spoke the truth today. No. He'll say, I know what you sales guys do. Half the time in the name of sales meeting, you're sitting in coffee shops with a friend and smoking hookah. So they'll start mudslinging towards each other. But if I've educated them, we've discussed this, they've committed to this, then we can hold each other responsible to this, yes or no? And let's just say we've discussed, committed, and then this salesperson is holding him responsible, then we've discussed this is our commitment. And he says, that in front of boss I'll say, but all this practically I can't do. Then can the sales guy escalate this to you, yes or no? And when they escalate it to you, can you step in and question the person on walking the talk, yes or no? And apart from questioning them, can you also question them on why are they willing to do it when you question, but when their peer is questioning them, they're not willing to do it. Can you question them on that also? I'm highlighting this point because many of you don't do this. You question, you get a yes, and you're happy saying, ho gaya na kaam, wo haan bol diya, kar dega. No, build a peer-to-peer accountability relationship. Otherwise, you'll be changing the diapers of your team members for the rest of your life. Build a peer-to-peer accountability. Now, this is a situation where he put individual first. Let me give you another situation. Sales guy goes, comes back, gives the briefing, says, I need design by tomorrow. And the designer says, Macha, first time I got right swipe on Tinder da. I can't. Evening I have a date. Oh, right swipe, wow. How is she? Show photo. Now, he says, okay, you go. Leave the proposal. I'll tell them something. I'll just send the cost for now. In this situation, what is the sales guy putting first? Goal, people, individual. People. He's putting his friend first. Right? And then if I have a good review system, and I tell the guy, Thursday you went for Microsoft meeting, what happened? He says, oh, we couldn't send this. Where's the proposal? Where was the design? We didn't send it. Why? No, he had to leave. The designer had to leave. Then can I hold that team member responsible saying, hey, listen, are you putting goal first or people first? So educate, discuss, get a commitment, and then drive this. Does it make sense? Now, watch. Designer stays back till 11 in the night, makes the design. What does he put? Come on everybody, what does he put? He's put the goal first. If this happens once in a while, it's great. But if every second day the designer is working till 11, 12, 1, then they may be putting goal first. But the question is, are you a win-win-win company then? Are you a win-win-win company if your team members are stretching beyond their limits again and again and again? Are you building a win-win-win business? No. So these principles work in synchronicity with each other. What do I mean by win-win-win? We've all heard of Stephen Covey's win-win, right? Say, company has to win and client has to win. Now when you go with this win-win philosophy and say, client has to win and company has to win, team member is thinking, mera kya? So I don't believe in only win-win. I say win-win-win. Client has to get value for money. Team members have to win. They have to get financial growth, career growth, quality of life. And we as a business have to win. All three have to win. Yes or no? Yes. So you got to walk the talk even in alignment to this principle. Saying in any situation, our client has to get value for money. We as a business need to win. And our team also needs to win. Once in a while, if my designer is stretching till 11 in the night, acceptable. If he's doing it 3-4 times in a month, okay. But if that's his life, then I need to step in. I need to either hire another person to support this individual, or I need to give clients real deliverables that we can deliver on. My request to all of you here is this. Some of us take pride in tearing our teams apart during season time. We really push them through their threshold. I know this business requires us to deliver what we promise, but at what cost is something that you have to evaluate. I've seen event managers and wedding planners whose event gets over, it's a hectic event of 4-5 days. Next day there's no work. But they'll tell people come to office because it's a Monday. Arey, when you're not thinking about taking away their Sunday, then what's your problem in letting them go on a Monday? This meaningless management needs to stop. Give people that leeway, take care of them also. And then you see how they take care of you. This is making sense. Yeah? That's why win-win-win is important, which brings me to the last one. We pride ourselves on being perfectionists in this industry, right? You don't want to hear my opinion on perfectionism. I'll keep that for some other day. But here's the truth. Progress is more important than perfection. Take a moment to digest that one. Progress is more important than perfection. The reason I make that statement is this. The only way to build your business in a manner where it grows without you is when you build leaders and team members. Yes or no? And if you want to build leaders and you want to build team members, you got to allow people to make mistakes and fail and not attack them. I call this the Dhoni style of leadership. You know, when India was playing Australia, Australia needed 25 runs to win in last 6 balls. And Dhoni gave the ball to Zaheer Khan. And Zaheer Khan gave those 25 runs in 5 balls. The journalists were provoking and poking Dhoni in the press conference saying, would you blame this loss on Zaheer Khan? And here's what Dhoni said. Zaheer is a world-class bowler. You will see him deliver in the next match. You know what that does to Zaheer in the dressing room? He's like my captain standing for me. Now it's time for me to stand for my captain. You take that style of leadership against so many other great batsmen who are not great leaders. They'll go and say, yeah, it was disappointing. Zaheer had an off day and yeah, this one's going to be a heavy one which he'll have to take on his chin. You're killing Zaheer that day. Allow your team members to fail. Tell them, fail fast, make mistakes quickly, but make a new one every time. Fail differently. Because when they fail differently, they are making progress. When they are making progress, you are letting go of what you are doing and allowing them to take charge. And when you delegate initially, there will be mistakes, there will be quality lapses, there will be mistakes that will cost you money. It will hit the P&L of your event. There will be client complaints. All of this will happen. All you need to do is this. Don't go into this mode of, oh my God, my team can't do the work as well as I can do it. Let me only be in control. Let me only take charge. I'll only do everything because I can't handle this money loss. I can't handle these quality lapses. I can't handle these client complaints. My reputation is getting spoiled. Can I tell you something? Come closer. Lean forward. Come closer. Lean. People who say my reputation will get spoiled, here's the truth. They actually don't have a reputation. They're worried for nothing. Having 10, 20, 30, 50, 80 clients is nothing. I'm talking to you about building a scalable, profitable business. Your appetite for shabbiness has to be high. The higher your appetite for shabbiness, the more success you can create. But if you're going to be beating yourself saying, why did I do this? Why did I delegate? You will be there doing that activity for the rest of your life. And that's a bigger cost, that's a bigger trap. So ladies and gentlemen, fail fast, fail differently, allow people to fail, take care of people, and through the process, up your own game. You're masters in event management, now learn the science of management. Does that make sense? Yes. I'm done. Before I leave, I'm going to tell you that I have a special gift for you. Can I give all of you a special gift from my side? Okay. So here's a gift from my side. Okay. Here's a QR code. I'm going to give you a course of mine for free. Okay. Which I go into details of. Okay. It's called the Business Success Workshop. It's happening on the 20th of September, 10 to 12:30. Just use this QR code or you can use this link, whichever works for you. And stay connected, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, get out of the way. Stay connected, I mean. I have a commitment that till the day I breathe my last, I'll continue to serve and add value to entrepreneurs. And the way I do it is, I'm very active on Instagram. I answer questions to people personally within 48 to 72 hours of them sending the question. So Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, these are the places I'm most active. Stay connected. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.